know more than I do about racing. I've been in it all my life. Uh, I know some things. I know things we should do and shouldn't do. And about the time I tell them something we should do or shouldn't do, it works backwards for me. So I try to keep my mouth shut and let them make their decisions. They're the ones that do it for a living, and
Yeah.
I've done it to spend my living. So
I got you. Well, let me go ahead and make a proper introduction here real quick.
okay,
And okay, everybody, welcome to Mid America Dirt. I'm super excited to be joined by Mr. Lance Landers, owner of Double L Motorsports and the 49 car. Um, I would assume that's all correct. Yes.
that is correct. Yeah.
Lance, how did your for people from Arkansas like me, your Landers is kind of in the same boat as Walton and Tyson and stuff like that. Everybody knows that name. Let me ask you this: was it your grandpa or something like that that started selling cars down there at Benton?
It was actually me, my dad, and my brother
Okay, okay,
started, and we had a used dealership for many years, and transferred into the new car business. And as that went on, I think I sold out in like 1996 to United Auto Group, and my dad and brother sold out before that. And I decided, when I sold out of the car business, I decided to get in the marine distribution business. So I joined in with some buddies of mine, and we opened a marine dealership, marine aftermarket part dealership. So we did that for about 18 years, and when I was about 15 years into it, I got a phone call from Mark Martin, and he wanted me to help him buy this Ford store in Batesville. So I agreed to help him buy the store, and him and his dad were trying to buy it. And his dad had that plane accident, and
yeah,
so he decided he wanted me to go in and negotiate the deal for him. So I went in and negotiated the deal and got him a little better deal than what he had before, and he uh, he decided that he thought I ought to be his partner. Well, I didn't really want to do that, but I did it. So I think Mark and I got up to like 6 dealerships, together,
yeah.
and, he ended up, moving to Montana, and I bought him out, of the car dealerships. Of course, he was a big help to me in the racing. Uh, he turned my racing around because he sat down with me one day and he said, "What are you trying to accomplish?" And I had Jared running. Of course, I was just trying to keep Jared on the racetrack and not out in the parking lot. And I said, "Man, I said I really don't know." And he said, "Well, you're not going to win races unless you got the best car, the best motors, the best driver, and you got to be good." And I said, "Why have I got to be good?" He said, "Well, you got to be good because you got to hold all that stuff together." So, long story short, Mark and I went and sat down with Scott Bloomquist, and we hired Scott, and Scott was going to drive for us, and we were going to put Jared in a car as a teammate. So we put all that together, and right before dawn, when we decided to start the deal, Scott said, "I can't do it."
Oh man,
And me and Scott's mother had talked, and I was going to try to help Scott a little bit manage his money, and everybody knows Scott, so Scott's not one to let anybody manage his money, and he'd rather manage it himself. So that's what he did. But we ended up doing the teammate deal anyway. And I started seeing that maybe Mark was right, and I learned a little bit right there. And so I started leaning Mark's way. So I really paid attention to what I bought and what we did. Basically, and I hadn't always won races. I've been the guy running dead last. I've been the guy wrecking. I've been the guy. So, I learned a lot because as I got better equipment and started working on my drivers a little bit, grooming them a little better, I started seeing improvement, and it was a big turnaround from where I was. So I kind of give Mark credit for my success, to be honest with you. And
Oh, okay.
you know,
Now, so did you race at all? Did you
yes,
come
I
up
did.
come up in racing?
Yes, I did. When I started, of course, I did it to try to make a little extra money. I think I made more on the weekends racing figure eight at I-30 Speedway than I made working my job. So
Okay.
so I ran
Okay.
figure eight down there with all those guys for back in the 70s, and did that, and I did a little modified driving, but man, I spent all my time trying to replace people's cars I was tearing up, so I finally realized I didn't need to be out there doing that.
I
My
got you.
my figure eight stayed with me, so I continuously tore up stuff. So I said, "Well, I better pack on that." But anyway,
So I guess I-30 was probably your home track then,
it
if you
was. I
had.
started out there. I built a couple of sprint cars there for Tim Crawley, and so Tim raced for me for I don't know 10, 11, 12 years.
I
And
did not
we
know
we
that.
actually we actually had a sprint car, a modified, and a late model. And we went there one night and we won the sprint car race, the late model race, and the modified race with one driver. And that Monday morning, Joe Clay came and we went to lunch, and he said, "Hey, here's the deal. You're running my customers off." He said, "I need you to race one class only." So he backed me down to one class. But anyway, Tim and I went for a long time there, and then I took Jared in, started racing Jared, and ran him for a while, or for a long while. Gavin, my youngest son, ran a couple of years, and then Jared got hurt and tore his carotid artery, and so we had to kind of back
I
him down. And
I
and
like, I watched some highlights. But I knew you're, hoping you're going to come on here. I watched some highlights, and I saw that, where his car kind of just, I mean, just kind of odd, just
just
floated up.
odd, it took off in the
Yeah,
air. It went airborne, and
and just,
anyway,
I mean,
it scared me enough. I've never been
I
scared.
bet.
It scared me enough. I thought it killed him, and I just didn't want to take a chance of him getting hurt. So Mark and I flew him to Pittsburgh, which is like the Mayo Clinic, and we had him checked out, and they said he needs to sit on the sideline for a year. So Jared had no intentions of sitting on the sideline for a year. And after I got him parked, he finally realized he could make more money selling cars than he could racing them. So he got a little more active in that. And so I hired Jonathan at that point. Of course, Jonathan and Jared were both teammates for Clint Boyer. So they were teammates back in the day, and so I ended up, I knew Jonathan real well, and of course now, I guess he's been racing for me. I thought it was 5 years. It's been nearly 10, and he's kind of like family. He's a great guy, great
You
guy.
made
I
a
mean,
made a good choice there, did you?
yeah, he just it's not as much about how good a racer he is. He's just a good guy. And some people don't know him, don't know how good he is, but he's very personal. He's very I mean, he calls and checks on me. My own kids don't even do it most of the time. He checks on me. Of course, he's got a reason to. You don't need anything to happen to me. He needs to keep going, but
Yeah, yeah, I got you.
it's kind of
I
his
got you.
deal. I let him make the decisions and let him pick and choose his battles.
Yeah. Lance, let me talk to you about like cost wise. So I've had some guys on here before and talked to them. They say it's $750,000 to $1 million a year to run a national tour team. Is that ballpark right, or is it more than that? Or
I think that's real close. It just depends on what you got to add to. if your shop's paid for and you don't have that payment,
Got a
it's
toter.
like Chris Madden, I think's leasing a shop from Jonathan at Jonathan's house. And time you add all you pay rent and utilities and all that, mine's kind of mixed up in my Ford dealership, so I'm paying it anyway. And I, yeah, I would guess if you just started, well, actually, Tony Stewart called Mark one day, and Mark called me and said, "Tell Tony what it's going to cost to do this deal." And I said, "Well, I think you're probably looking at $1 million truck if you buy a new one. Then you're talking about another million to get everything you need to go do it." And of course, the better you run, the more stuff you get free, or the more benefits you get. Sometimes that really makes a difference, but at the end of the day, it pretty well costs everybody the same. You still got to buy tires, motors,
Right.
all that stuff. So I would say that's really pretty accurate.
Has has since you started, I mean, the cost wise of doing this, is it just blown up?
I think it's gone up quite a bit. Your tires are pretty brutal compared to what they were. When I first started, they'd give you 150 tires and they'd do this and they'd do that. Now it's like everybody's on the same program and everybody's paying retail for everything. And you got a lot of guys. Of course, it just the key to this whole deal is to partner with some good partners and get some good sponsorship money coming in and try to manage it that way. And you really got to make sure your sponsor's getting the bang for his buck, or he won't be there long. And of course, we got a new sponsor now. Ace Duran's on board with us, and we're excited about that. And they're excited about it. So them being excited makes us excited. So we're hoping to get them a big bang for their buck.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know much about them. Is that like a national trucking
It's
company?
it's a trucking company. It's owned by the Bennett family of companies, and so they own several different truck lines. They're big, big, and they're just super good people to deal with too. It's and Nutrient Ag, been with me forever, and they're still with me. But Steve Martin at Nutrient Ag, he's the one that put the Ace Duran together for me also. So he's still on board with me, and I kind of give him credit for doing most all the sponsorship work because he's pretty well done all that for me, and that makes it really easy.
Oh
I'm
yeah, I
not
bet. I
real
bet that.
good. I'm not real good at going and asking for money because I got people asking me all the time to sponsor their stuff, and
Bet.
I'm going like, I know how that feels.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I was going to ask you about that. You probably are on the other end of that quite a bit yourself. So,
To get to see both sides of it, but man, it does. I mean, these guys got to have sponsorship to do this. They've got to have it. And
like from the top bottom too, right? I mean,
oh
you're a
yeah,
bomber all the way to the best national teams in the country. You gotta
yes,
have it.
they got to have it. I mean, it's a matter of not racing or racing, and of course, late models have always been something fun to go watch and do. But man, that has grown so big. It's just crazy. I mean, I had a lady from Minnesota call me from the uh, revenue department, and she's actually with the IRS and the revenue department, and she said, "Man, we need to talk to you about your license on your truck. You're running a Montana tag." And I said, "Ma'am, I own property in Montana." And then Mark lived in Montana, which I own property with Mark in Montana. And I said, "I'm as legal as I can be." Uh, and she wasn't gonna let me go with it. And she said, "What were you doing in Minnesota?" And I said, "Well, I was racing at Deer Creek." And she said, "Well, what do you race?" And I said, "Well, we've got a late model." Oh, boy, she got excited and she said, "Who's your driver?" And I told her, and she goes, "Oh, my husband's gonna flip." And I'm going like, and I told Jonathan, I mean, it doesn't matter where you go now. This TV has taken this to a whole different level. And the reason I'm going there with this is That's what us racers have to sell to our sponsors. And
Exposure.
all these guys out here racing, you know, you gotta give them a bang for their buck. You gotta treat. Of course, there's not but a few racers out there. I really don't even know if there's not but one racer out there that I really don't care much for, out of all of them. And,
Yeah.
of course, that guy will take care of himself. He'll end up, and actually his owner at one time called me. I don't know if he's still his owner, but he called me wanting to go in partners with me. But he had Josh Richards driving it. And we're talking about Tyler Herb.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about how
Yeah,
wild it got out there at the Wild
yeah.
West.
I mean, to be honest with you, and I hate to say this, you can't fix stupid. And I mean, he just there. So we'll leave that alone. Go to the next page. I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking there, but and I really don't. A wreck on the racetrack, it doesn't excite me. I mean, even if I know they run over me on purpose, I don't get excited. It's when they get up there after they did it, get on that intercom and brag about it. Now you're pushing my buttons, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you know,
Because
uh,
I mean, Jonathan, he's had some closer calls with Pierce. I mean, I know. I mean,
oh
I
yeah,
know.
but I mean, at the end of the day, Bobby doesn't get up there and try to sneak under his helmet and act like he's a little whatever he is and act like I didn't mean to step on Superman's cape. Well, I mean, there ain't no need. There's no need for that kind of stuff. And Jonathan would never do it to anybody else.
Yeah,
And so we don't
and
we don't take well.
it seems like he takes care of his equipment pretty
He
good.
does,
Also, I
he
mean that.
does. He cares about it. He wants to make sure. I mean, Jared. Uh, I was at the topless one time and I saw Jared's hot water hose blowing out on lap 13. By the time I got down there, it was on lap 38 trying to get him to stop, and he smoked the motor. Jonathan hears a little something that don't sound right, he shuts her off. And that's the difference, I say that's two of my own kids, but that's the difference in the way they think and the way they do. And Jared just wide open. He's got a little Tyler Herb in him. He's wide open and don't think sometimes, uh but Jonathan's pretty much paying attention to equipment and what he's supposed to be doing. And and I think he tries his best to drive everybody with respect like he wants to be drove.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And I mean, and it's really a big deal too. You get slid that close, that takes the air off the front, right? And that pretty
Yeah,
much shuts
yeah.
you down.
I mean, a slide job's a slide job. I mean, I'm not gonna get mad if somebody sliding me. We're gonna slide them. Slide jobs are slide jobs. If you take the air off her nose, we took the air off Bobby's nose at somewhere. I think it was Volusia. We took the air off his nose and he run in the wall. Well, I mean, we didn't bump him or hit him. We took the air off his nose. Now, I know it made him mad, and he's made us mad. But taking the air off somebody's nose is not wrecking them. Running over their air breather, that's wrecking them. So,
But I was watching at same time I told you I was watching some videos leading up to this. And I was watching that 2015 Knoxville Nationals that Jared uh, edged out
hmm
Josh Richards. Now that may be the best race I've ever seen at that place. That
well,
was a great
it was
race.
a good one. It was a sure good one for me because we had never won anything that big before. So that was his biggest accomplishment. So we were tickled to death to get that win for sure.
Lance, let me ask you about the tire thing again, real quick. Does it seem to you like the tires are getting less? What's the word I'm looking for? Less substantially built. Yeah, I mean, does it seem like people are blowing tires more?
I'm not. Us racers are like everybody else. We kind of feel like the whole world's going to that, but they build them cheaper and charge more for them.
Yeah,
They could try to charge me with that selling cars, but at the end of the day, I think that's what we're doing. And I don't think it's stuff going up. I think the dollar's just worth less.
yeah,
We're seeing that with
yeah.
a loaf of bread. We're seeing it. on anything we buy, I mean, pickup trucks are 100,000, we thought we'd never see that.
Yeah, no joke.
A $200,000 house is 350 now.
Yeah, yeah,
Everything's just kinda moving up, and I'm sure that's what the tires are doing also, but man, we sure need some help right there on the tire situation. That would sure help all us racers.
yeah. I mean, it just, I don't know. You hate to see a race lost because of a tire. I mean, I know it happens. I know what's going to happen, but man, it seems like a lot of times I forgot what race I was watching not too long ago here recently. There's just tire after tire after tire.
I know it. And a lot depends on, you know, where you were running on the racetrack. I mean, I watch Mark Martin, I watch Jonathan, uh, slow down and ride around the bottom or slow down. I asked Mark, I said, Mark, why do you pull over and stick your hand out the window and wave them guys by? You're supposed to be racing. He said, man, I'll see them at the end. He said, you just got to let them go. And I see Jonathan do that some, but like that race we just ran at Arizona. If it had been 2 or 3 more laps, I looked at Bobby's tires and I looked at our tires, and if it had been 2 or 3 more laps, there might have been a different finish right there. I don't know that we could have beat Bobby with the same tire, but he was out of tire and we didn't have any. I mean, we had plenty. So somehow riding around the bottom of that racetrack saved our tires. And
Okay. Okay. Huh.
It's just people knowing how to manage their tires and learning how to manage them better. That's the key to this deal. Used to, when we ran all these different compounds, it was a chess game. Who's going to play the right card, And now we're kind of all on the same stuff, and it's what we got. So now we got to figure out how to beat them by either knowing how to save our tire, uh, or just I think that's the biggest key to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, Lance, while I got you on here, and I asked you this at Batesville. Is Batesville your favorite track to go to? What's your if you had to pick a track that you like to go to, is there one?
I'm gonna say Eldora,
I hear you on that one.
just because it's been very good to us, and had a lot of good times there, and won a lot of money there, and that's probably my favorite. Anytime you got a hometown track, it's always a good one to run at because you've had more laps there, and you've done more there. But we like Batesville also. It's
That
probably in,
Eldora
in, in my top five.
that Eldora track, man, for as big as it is, the racing there is so good.
It is
It is
good.
so
It
good.
is good. It's good.
And TV don't do it justice on how fast those guys are getting
Now
around that track.
standing down there in that infield on that fence wall, you can see how fast they're going for
Yeah. Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
It's scary fast.
You think Jared will ever uh run more, or do you think that's
He'll run a little bit. He'll run 2 or 3 races a year, maybe 3 at the top. He likes to run Batesville when they run here, and I just let him. I try to pick the ones that I think he can keep it on the racetrack and not have a problem and not go as fast. So Batesville's a good place for him to run, and he likes Knoxville, but it's a little fast for him. And he's good at Lucas Oil, and so those are probably 2 that we're going to look at this year for him.
okay? And another thing is too, have you seen the comp cams pay out? What do you think about that for regional? You
Yeah,
like to see that?
yeah.
That's
Actually,
pretty
my
nice,
wife
isn't it?
just told me about it. That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, for people who don't know, Lance, that are watching this and maybe don't know anything about dirt track racing, tell them how important it is to get out and watch a race, a local race. How important is that to keeping the sport alive?
As far as them going to these races,
Yes.
I mean, it's all about the fans. Without these fans, we wouldn't be here. And it takes a combination of stuff. It takes the fans, it takes the drivers, it takes the car owners, it takes it takes the people that are going up and down the road, beating these panels back in and putting them back on the racetrack. It's just driving and driving and driving. I mean, it's just like, wow. And we're running a little bit, not a limited schedule this year, but we're not running either series. We're going to run kind of an open deal. We did this once in 22 and we had good success, but there were some big races there that we won. Uh, this one's not going to be probably as good as 22, but it might give us a little time to breathe, you know. Uh, Sometimes when you're got to be in Pennsylvania and you can be over here for a 50 to win instead of going to Pennsylvania for a 25 to win, you know, that's the only way that we got to be smart enough to pick up enough money on those races to be able to justify not running the series due to the points money that we're giving up and the show up money we're giving up.
Yeah, yeah. That show up money, I know that's a pretty big deal. It
I mean,
helps
anything
helps set
coming
a
in big.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Okay, you're like the Saban coaching tree of super late model racing. You've had all kinds of folks come through your program. Can you kind of touch on that a little bit, like all the people that have come through there that are big time in the sport?
That have raced for me or with me,
Well,
or
that you know, helped with the crew, whatever. You've had some people come through there. I know that. I've seen some
well,
of the names.
yeah, I mean, pretty much all of 'em. I don't think
I
I don't
know.
think I missed any, but, you know, I've had them all. Dale McDowell's the one got me, hooked up in the late model business, and then Mark Richards sold me I I think Mark Richards sold me my first 2 new race cars, and I said, "Since you're selling me the cars, you sell me your truck?" And he said, "Well, yeah." So I said, "Well, just build my cars, put them in there, and set them up for me, load them in the truck, and I'll pick the truck up." That's what he did.
We did
So
go.
you know, we've, and getting to meet all the different car owners and all the different people, as far as racing overall, I mean, Mark Martin had a lot of people come visit him and the Richard Petties and, uh, I mean, I don't know anybody that hadn't been in my race shop
That's awesome.
that's run. I mean, it doesn't, they've all been to the dealership and the race shop and, Buddy Baker, he said he went there and sat down in that race shop. And he said, "We didn't have nothing like this when we started NASCAR." And I'm going like, "You got to be kidding me." And I don't have a very big shop, but I'm like, man. He said, "No, we didn't have nothing that's nice back when we was racing started racing these cars." He said, "We didn't have an
Yeah.
apartment in it either." He said, "I'm gonna go sit in this recliner and take a nap." So that's what he did.
I've seen pictures of it. It looks super nice.
Yeah, he's we've had them all through there once or twice, and so we've had a lot of fun in racing and man, just being hooked up with all the good partners I got and the sponsors and then trying to carry ourselves to make sure that they're taken care of, that we're not embarrassing them or doing anything that would offend them. And we try to carry our heads high no matter what happens. A very odd deal that Jonathan would pull over and block Tyler Erb's trailer over there. That's not something we do on a regular basis, but enough's
It's
enough. Enough's enough.
yeah, racing.
You
I
know,
mean, it's racing. I mean, you're not, you know, it's
we
not.
we we get him about 15 times, 15 or 20, and it's enough's enough, you know. And I'm not gonna tolerate that kind of action anymore. And I hate that fans have to see people operate like that. I mean, it's not good for the sport at all.
Yeah.
They like to
I
see fight in action. I know they like to see the
sure,
fight in action,
sure.
and anybody does, but you
Yeah,
know, it's just us as car owners that try to spend all the money out there to keep these things on the road and going. It's not as funny to us when you run over our car and tear it all to pieces and we got to pay to fix it, and then you won't get on there and laugh about it. I mean,
yeah.
that's uncalled for. I mean, that's just something that shouldn't happen, and it's a
I mean,
nuisance. It's a nuisance to the sport
and for people that don't know that car, I mean that you're what? That's 120 grand, right?
every day,
Somewhere in there.
all day
Yeah.
long.
Yeah. So it's
And
it's not some cheapy thing running around out
no,
there.
you
That's some
know
expensive
these
equipment.
motors are 55, 60,000. I mean, everything we're doing's gone up, and we're racing, so we know we're going to tear them up, but let's not do it on purpose, and accidents are definitely going to happen, but let's not do it on purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Lance, I've had you on here for quite a while. I'll let you get off here. Before we go, is there anybody you want to shout out or thank you before we
Man,
head
I
out of
just
here?
want to, I just want to thank all my sponsors, ASC Warranty, of course, Martin Automotive, uh, Ace Duran, Nutrient Ag, uh, man, everybody says you can't do it without them. Well, they're dead right. You can't do it without them. You can. I've done it without them, but it's not very much fun. So I I got a lot of respect for all my partners, and I'm glad we got them, and we're going to try our best to keep them.
Mr. Landers, man, I appreciate you coming on here.
Thank
This is a
you.
big honor for me. Uh,
Thank you for having me.
yeah, I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you later. I'll see you somewhere down the road.
All righty. You have a
All
good
right,
day.
you too. Thank you.